In the dark and dusty storage room, Palcoa squatted down, looking at Giss kneeling on the floor with disdain. "Well, look at this little punk," the Parrot gang leader sneered. Giss kept his head down, his voice trembling, not daring to look his opponent in the eye. "You want me to bring the redhead?" Palcoa's eyes turned cold. He smirked slightly, slowly pulling something grotesque from his mouth, resembling a root with tendrils still covered in saliva. He held up his hand adorned with gold and jade rings, revealing a parrot tattoo on the back of his hand. Suddenly, Palcoa grabbed Giss's hair, yanking his head back and shoving the disgusting thing into his mouth. "Chew," he ordered in a cruel voice. "No!" Giss screamed in panic, struggling desperately. He fell back onto the floor, tears streaming down his face, begging in utter terror, "Please, anything but loop!" Palcoa pressed his knee into Giss's chest, holding him firmly to the ground. He smirked maliciously. "You fool, this will show you God himself. Now choose, either you bring your redhead girlfriend or you bring your sister." The horrifying proposition was like a hammer blow to Giss's mind. He lay motionless, his eyes wide, stunned in horror as the creature dangled right in front of him.
In Giss's mind, the image of his little sister was vividly clear. My sister. She's the only family I have, and she's completely dependent on me. He gritted his teeth, a fierce determination blazing in his tearful eyes. I will protect her. That vow spurred Giss forward, leading him to stand before the large, imposing mansion. Under the pale yellow light cast from the arched gate, his figure looked small and lonely. Giss took heavy steps up the stone stairs. His hand, reaching for the doorbell, trembled incessantly, revealing the anxiety and unease churning within him. Taking a deep breath to gather his courage, he resolutely pressed the button. The ding-dong of the bell echoed, breaking the silence of the night. After a moment of waiting, the massive wooden door slowly opened. Giss looked up sharply, his eyes widening in stunned surprise as he recognized the person standing before him. Amy Carmus's face was also filled with surprise. She looked at Giss and exclaimed, "You really—"
Giss's eyes widened, and he seemed to hold his breath. Under the brilliant yellow light, the image of the girl with auburn hair and emerald eyes suddenly became dazzling, like a goddess. So beautiful, he thought to himself, his face involuntarily flushing. Before his astonishment could fade, Giss was pulled back to reality by a loud shout. "You are—" Rian pointed directly at Giss, his face full of anger. Standing next to him, Elzine also couldn't hide her surprise and annoyance. She immediately recognized him. That con artist from earlier. Amy, the one who had just mesmerized Giss, was equally stunned, and she asked, "How did you find us?" Seeing this, Rian immediately adopted a protective stance. Should I chase him away? Surrounded by suspicious gazes, Giss flusteredly waved his hand, stammering, I. The boy quickly bowed deeply in apology, almost shouting, "I'm really sorry for what happened earlier. I sincerely apologize. As an apology, I'll show you all a beautiful night scene, but only she can go, so—" Giss's strange offer not only failed to soothe the situation, but made everyone more wary. From behind the half-closed door, Elzine coldly replied, "No need, just close the door." Amy agreed. "You heard her, right? Goodbye." The heavy wooden door began to close, blocking all of Giss's hopes. In desperation, he lunged forward, trying to hold the door open with both hands. "Wait!"
A loud thud echoed as Giss suddenly grabbed Amy's hand. Standing frozen in the doorway under the starry night sky was Giss, the pickpocket from the docks. His mouth hung open in horror, completely unprepared for this situation. Giss stammered, fear evident in his eyes. Suddenly, an angry shout erupted from behind Amy. Elzine, her face hardened, rushed forward and yelled, "Let go of her!" Standing beside her, Rian was also completely stunned by the unexpected situation. Amy's face clearly displayed horror and disgust, but then, contrary to her friend's reactions, Amy became completely calm. Her green eyes narrowed, analyzing every expression on Giss's dirty face. She noticed the bruises on his chest through his worn old clothes. Before everyone's gaze, Giss desperately collapsed to his knees. Tears streamed down his face as he trembled and reached out his hand, his voice choked with utter anguish. "Please, I beg you, please let me lead the way for you." Giss's desperate plea made everything click into place in Amy's mind. She looked down at the sobbing boy, her expression changing from surprise to understanding. So there really is an organization behind this, taking advantage of him. Now I understand.
The memory of what Shirone had witnessed that day seemed vivid, etched deeply in his mind with a lingering shock. In the cozy but somewhat quiet atmosphere of the tavern, under the soft yellow light, Shirone sat pensively at the bar. He gently set down his teacup, his blue eyes gazing into the void, his heart weighed down by a big question. How can I change this world? Opposite him, Marcia smirked slightly, her captivating red eyes gleaming with shrewdness. She leisurely raised her amber-colored glass of wine, her warm voice ringing out, breaking the silence. What you need to change this cruel world is a family. Shirone looked up, his face full of confusion, about to object, but can a family... I know what you're gonna say, Marcia interrupted gently but firmly, her eyes still holding a confident look. What I mean is, let's try changing the perspective a little. Family doesn't just include people with the same bloodline. That concept can be expanded much further. She stood up, her back in a black suit, slowly walking away, her voice still echoing evenly throughout the space. It's a place you can always return to, no matter how lost you are. It's someone you can trust at any time. Her back stood firm in front of a large, warm house nestled among lush green trees, like an affirmation of the very definition she had just given.
Marcia's crimson eyes were distant, lost in a flowing stream of memories. After leaving home, she whispered, her voice laden with complex emotions, "I met many children in the same situation as me." A chaotic scene of a slum or a rundown corner of a tavern came to mind, where thin, ragged children were fighting over scraps. In the midst of that crowd, a younger Marcia stood, her eyes both bewildered and resolute. "I don't know if it was due to the trauma from my foster father," she continued, her eyes slightly narrowed, "but I developed the ability to recognize children like that. They say a person's life begins when they are held in their parents' arms after birth. A memory of a newborn crying in the arms of a person with a sinister smile flashed by, a stark contrast. It made me think, if someone was willing to reach out and embrace those who had been abandoned, could they eventually start their lives?" A long line of lonely lost children appeared in her mind. Then warm, gentle figures like mothers appeared, embracing them, giving them a new beginning. Returning to reality, a mysterious but confident smile bloomed on Marcia's lips. She rested her chin on her hand, her sharp eyes gazing straight ahead. "If you keep focusing on your own misfortunes, the world will only become harsher."
Marcia's voice echoed, even but laced with hidden meaning in the silent space. And if you think this world is harsh, then what you need is the warmth of a family. Shirone lowered his head, his blonde hair gently falling to obscure his eyes. "I understand," he whispered. A bitter but warm truth flashed in his mind. So all this time, he had received more love than he deserved. Memories of Father Vincent and Mother Alina's warm embrace flooded back, an embrace brimming with the affection he once had. Overwhelmed by emotion, Shirone abruptly looked up, his blue eyes gleaming with a newfound resolve. He stammered, I want to become someone like that too, someone who can bring warmth to the people I cherish, someone like you, Marcia." Marcia's red eyes glimmered slightly. "Really? I'm so glad to hear you say that," she replied, her tone strangely sweet, then suddenly continued, "Then let's build a family together." Before Shirone could collect himself, Marcia suddenly lunged forward, forcefully shoving him into the cabinet behind. A loud, jarring crash echoed. Caught off guard by the sudden attack, Shirone only managed a cry of utter bewilderment, completely at a loss as to what was happening.
In the cozy atmosphere of the tavern, Marcia suddenly leaned forward, her red eyes sparkling with mischief. "What are you thinking?" she asked, then flashed a smile so radiant it made the other person flinch. "I'm saying we should become sworn siblings." The sudden proposal caused Shirone, who was drinking, to choke, his face flushed with embarrassment. He awkwardly replied, "That's what I was thinking too, sure." Regaining his composure, Shirone scratched his cheek sheepishly and explained, "Actually, one of my best friends has an older sister, and I've always been envious of that." Just then, the old bartender who was wiping glasses turned around to announce, "You two are safe. They've given up on you and are chasing after another woman." Marcia merely smiled slightly, seemingly unconcerned. "Oh, what I meant was..." Hearing that he was safe, Shirone sighed in relief and jumped up, declaring decisively, "Then if you'll excuse me, I'll be going. I think my friends are waiting for me." Seeing him preparing to leave, Marcia propped her chin up, her tone full of teasing and feigned disappointment. "Oh, you're abandoning your older sister so soon? How disappointing." Shirone turned back, but this time not with embarrassment, but with a genuine smile. "Thanks to you, I've realized something important. Will we meet again?" Marcia's red eyes narrowed slightly, full of meaning. She took a sip of her drink, a mysterious smile forming on her lips. "I'll be staying here for a while."
The silver-haired bartender, meticulously polishing a glass, looked up and froze. His eyes narrowed, staring at the new arrival with astonishment and disbelief. Are you really Clay Marcia?" the bartender stammered, his voice filled with incredulity. Marcia's appearance immediately caused a stir. Two drunkards at a nearby table turned, leering with obnoxious grins. "Hey there, doll. We've been waiting a long time. Forget that clueless kid. Why don't you hang out with us tonight?" The bartender frowned worriedly, quickly raising his voice in warning. "You're not here to cause trouble, are you? If you violate the rules of this place..." Marcia seemed unfazed. She gracefully raised her glass, her crimson eyes half closed in a mysterious manner as she took a sip. "Don't worry," she replied calmly, her tone cold yet resolute. "I'll be gone as soon as I find my family." She clicked her tongue softly, an almost imperceptible sound of disdain echoing in the space, like a silent warning.
In the darkness, the cold silver pistol barrels pointed out, ready to fire. Behind them stood figures in black clothing, their faces obscured by fedora brims, revealing only burning red eyes full of murderous intent. Inside a luxurious room now filled with oppressive tension, Marcia indifferently watched her underlings subdue the vulnerable. A man knelt on the floor, his face drained of all color. Marcia spoke calmly, her cold voice echoing in the tense atmosphere. "I heard they caused a bit of trouble after leaving home." A familiar figure approached from behind, bowing their head, their voice cracking with fear. "I apologize, madam." Memories of defeat suddenly flooded back. The image of the woman in the blue apron and Shirone appeared. Her face was full of regret and bitterness. If only that boy hadn't interfered. Back in reality, Marcia remained silent, her eyes unreadable. A deep voice echoed from somewhere, carrying a tone of reproach. "It seems you've made quite a mess of things, Marcia."
In the dimly lit tavern, the deep voice of the man in the white coat broke the silence. "Who is that kid?" Across from him at the bar, Marcia smirked, her expression full of teasing. "Look at that face. Are you jealous? How awful. I thought he was one of us, but it seems he's deeply mistaken about something." She leaned back, her tight black outfit accentuating her curves. "He was lucky enough to be adopted by a wealthy family, and it seems he's even attending a magic academy." The man remained silent, head bowed, his fedora obscuring half his face. "No wonder he doesn't recognize anything," Marcia continued, her tone growing colder. "That family is made up of people in the same boat as us. How dare he play the hero without knowing his place?" Scratch! A match was struck sharply. A small flame erupted in the darkness. Marcia brought the flame to her pipe, a sinister smile appearing on her lips, her red eyes gleaming with malice. "I'll make sure to teach him what life is really like."
Under a starlit night sky, Shirone frantically ran along the dirt road leading to a brightly lit mansion, the dense palm groves on either side resembling giant specters. "Good heavens! What kind of shopping can I do at this hour?" he muttered to himself, his face etched with panic and urgency. Reaching the front door, he didn't hesitate for a second before pressing the doorbell hard. The ding-dong echoed, slicing through the stillness of the night. The door immediately swung open. Rian and Elzine appeared, their faces a mix of anger and extreme anxiety. Rian roared, grabbing Shirone by the collar. "Shirone, what the hell took you so long?" Still panting, Shirone raised his hands in an attempt to calm him down. "I'm sorry I'm late. I ran into some trouble." But Elzine cut him off, her voice trembling with fear. "Forget about that. Amy already got on that con man's carriage." Elzine's words struck like a thunderbolt. In the distance, a horse-drawn carriage sped away into the night, heading towards the faint glow of the lighthouse at the end of the road. Inside the luxurious carriage, Amy sat silently in her black and red evening gown. Her eyes were distant. Giss sat opposite her in the quiet space, broken only by the rhythmic clatter of the wheels on the empty road.
The indignant scream still seemed to echo somewhere, digging deep into her mind. Elzine shouted, "Leave!" In the carriage, Amy sat in silence, her delicate hand with its black lace bracelet resting lightly against her slender chin. Faint light from outside illuminated her elaborately styled fiery red hair and her emerald eyes, which held a distant sadness. She wore a luxurious black dress, a lace collar hugging her pale neck, punctuated by a sparkling red gem. Despite her glamorous appearance, her face exuded a melancholic, somber air as painful memories once again flooded back. Meanwhile, in another place, the atmosphere was completely different. Marcia, dressed in all black, sat silently, her eyes showing annoyance. Sitting next to her, a man in a white coat and fedora, stylishly exhaling smoke, suddenly proclaimed, "Smoking is bad for your health, you know." Marcia merely glanced at him, deigning to respond to the contradictory advice with a judgmental silence.